Good evening, everyone. My name is Aida Farhat. Welcome to Conscious Heart Solutions. Today, my guest is James Rink. James has been a part of the alternative media for a very long time. I'm going to share a short bio and then allow James to elaborate and share his experience as a super soldier and the research that he's done to bring awareness to humanity. So I'm reading off my phones. Everybody, please bear with me. James Rink is a super soldier who is a master meditation practitioner, researcher, author, and video producer. Through his Super Soldier Talk YouTube series, he has helped awaken humanity to the secret activities of the covert government, uncovering topics such as brainwashing, trauma, milabs, which stand for military abductions, and covert harassment, all of which he has had to endure his entire life as a product of Project Surrogate and Ultra MK Milab Super Soldier experimentation. His book Lone Wolf chronicles these projects. He spends his time perfecting the Neo meditation device, which is a chi energizer that helps users relax during meditation so that they can integrate themselves. James will be talking about those responsible for Milab agenda, cyborgs, super soldiers, and their agenda during difficult transition in Earth's history. Welcome, James. Thank you for coming on. I'm so pleased and excited to have you on.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd like to just go ahead and open up and allow you to share whatever you feel would be valuable for the listeners to become better informed. So
Okay. Thank you for inviting me. So here's a copy of my book. You can get this at my website, Neological Tech. It's self-printed. So yeah, there's about 400 pages in here. And so there's a lot. I try not to go into, a lot of research out there is based on it compounds based on other people's research. So much of this is unique and novel, as in that through remote viewing, regressions, psychic intuition. So this is and I have a whole some of my experiences in here. So today, what we're gonna do, we're gonna try to, if we have time to do it, I'll summarize some of this stuff in part of my story. So I do have some PowerPoint presentations I could share. You might just FYI, I might need to be made a co-host if you want me to share my screen.
absolutely. I want you to
Okay.
do so for my listeners. I'm
Yeah.
new at this and I'm okay with sharing that. I don't claim to be any expert, but I am familiar and aware of some of these programs and projects. But I definitely know that you are definitely an expert in this. And so therefore, I would like to open it up to the listeners that they're able to have you do a presentation and you can educate them better. And I can kind of just go
Okay.
along as well.
All
Katie,
right.
is it possible for us to go ahead and allow James to be co-host and to do a PowerPoint presentation? Can we do that? Katie, she may have stepped away for a minute.
Um, okay.
I'll
Well,
send her a message. You can go
well, we
ahead.
wait for her to come back. So essentially, I am a super soldier, and I've been involved in the secret space program through different altars for at least 330 years. And I say at least because what they, at least in my particular case, it's not always like this, but typically they would take your consciousness and take it outside of your body and put it into a clone avatar. And you would, so I could be here in the here and now talking to you, and I could be also out there in the universe doing missions. Now, for listeners out there, you might have this idea of seeing the movie Avatar, where the guy was switching back and forth between that large blue beam body. Well, in at least in some of the cases of us, I can't say it's the case for everybody, but there could be multiple bodies and multiple tracks. And for me, I have at least 56 different altars, and we're still trying to pinpoint some of them. I've got some information on, but as far as the possibilities, they could make 10,000 clones and then stick your consciousness and it'll go back and forth. Typically, the clones will be kept in stasis, in some kind of long-term stasis. It could be some kind of gas and animated state, or some kind of pink goo, which is usually long-term, used for long-term stasis. But yeah, and we could also talk about some of the different types of goos on here if you want, and what they do. But yeah, as far as, I guess, maybe we can go. I
Well,
don't necessarily.
can I ask you something? Okay, so for people, because I don't think that my listeners, if I could be wrong, but most of the people that are new to my channel or recently become subscribers are not familiar even with what a super soldier is. Can you share what that concept, what that word, what does that mean? What is a super soldier? And what is
Uh,
my lab?
yeah,
And then
well, typically a super soldier is an entity that's usually that's used over and over again in different type of usually it's off-world ops, but it could also be used in for instance, child rescuing operations, recon operations. Sometimes some super soldiers are used as an informationer, which means uh, they're they use their psychic abilities to direct the soldier on the field, where to go, and troop movements and so on. But there's other types of super soldiers. Some of them could be used as spies. Some of them are used for sexual activities. Uh, yeah, they also have, and you can also turn. You can use animals as a super soldier.
oh God, I
You
didn't
can
know
make
that.
hybrids, crossbreeds, as they can be converted into super soldiers as well. So you could basically take anybody, even your your grandma, and take her. If she has the ability to do that, typically they need certain people's soul essence that can have the capability to do that. And in my particular case, my soul essence is crystalline type DNA. Now, um, I actually, my soul came from another reality that's outside of this one. So I'm not necessarily subject to the laws of physics. So that's part of the reason why they chose me. And as crystalline DNA, as a crystalline being, I can go, as I travel throughout the universe, I can collect information and then use it, or they can use it. That's what's mostly happening right now. But I'm not saying that all super soldiers have crystalline DNA, but if you do happen to have that, they certainly will like to use you, depending whether or not they can program or not. Sometimes it doesn't always work, and we could always discuss that. But so let's see here. As far as how it all began for me, uh, my particular race of beings came from a group called the Atlans, and that was this. We're going back over 40,000 years ago, and our race was contacted by the Draco because they had a particular issue with a black goo infection, which is a type of biobot nano, or rather, it's actually femto, but femto technology that was infecting their race and taking them over. So 6 of us volunteered to go on board to assist that particular species to help them fix the AI contamination issue. So as soon as we got on board the ship, they put us in these chambers and they gassed us in this green gas and they killed us. And then they took our consciousness and started putting us into clone avatars and selling us off to various secret space programs and projects. And that's been going on ever since the pre Atlantis for my particular case. And I've been stuck in all this since then. So
Can I ask you a question,
yeah,
James? How are you able to recover all this? I
a
mean,
lot
this
of
is
a lot of
sounds
it's
pretty
regression.
like whimsical for people, or like out there, and
Mhm.
people
Yeah.
can't imagine that this is possible. But
Yeah,
I definitely
a lot
can
of
say, yeah,
regressions, a lot of
yeah.
regressions, and also I have some people in my network that are really intuitive, and they can go into trance, and but I do guided meditations and guided regression work. So I'm not necessarily saying that. We can get all, if you wanted to come and do some work with me, I can assist, but I'm not necessarily saying we're going to fix everything in one session, but with some work, you can get there. Yeah. So this, I'm giving you about 10, 12 years of research that I've done. So it's not, and I do this all the time. So this is like my practically, yeah, my life's work here. Um, okay. So I guess I'm, I'm not sure if because there's so much more if, when you asked me if I was
Well,
about different
James, we
types of
don't have
super
to do it
soldiers.
all in this one interview. I mean, I would be glad to have an honor to have you back on again, and maybe if you're interested, definitely have it, because I know that you are a plethora of information, and I think everybody would serve us all well to sit back and have a listen and become informed, and of course use discernment, do our own research, and do our best to learn what we can from you in order to even uncover our own experiences if people are driven or have a, are inspired to do that. I mean, I definitely encourage people to reach out to you, and we'll make sure that your information, contact information, is available to them for those that are interested. So please go ahead. I see
All
that you've
right.
got your PowerPoint going.
Yeah. So here's some other definitions, and we've already explained what a super soldier is. But there's also Manchurian candidates, and of course, those are used as a sacrificial lamb. The milabs or military abductions. Typically, these are performed by members of the secret space program and an NGO military contractor, which is non-government organizations. MK is mind control, which is probably not the proper German way of saying that, but it is the German term for that. And Ultra was a intelligence group known as considered ultra secret, part of Mark Ultra. So yeah, typically these super soldiers have many different type of psychic and telekinetic abilities that you don't really see in the general armed forces. So they're always looking for people with psionic abilities because they're able to do superhuman feats. So yeah, and they like to use them over and over again. And there you go. There are about 4 million, at least that's what I estimate, people that were used in these projects on planet Earth at this time. Yeah, let's skip over that one. Okay, the first, yeah, I'm gonna skip that too. Types of super soldier. We already got a super. So here's some different types of super soldiers here. They initially, according to ACIO records, the first super soldier started to appear on Earth approximately 6,000 years ago. So this would be the time of ancient Sumeria. So ancient Sumeria was, and I think there was some kind of either some time travel technology going on or something from another alternate reality that was emerging at that time. But or they could be from our future. And I just said okay, but I'm necessarily not going to go
Yeah,
read
this
all this.
this is absolutely
But
fascinating information. I mean,
yeah, I mean, okay.
I've listened to you for years, so I am familiar with some of this information. Although a lot of people, for those, definitely go to James Rink's YouTube channel. You will become aware of so much. It's just absolutely fascinating. Please continue, James.
Okay. Yeah. So, and maybe in your mind, you might think of, oh, well, they're going to shoot you up with steroids, but it's not steroids. It's the biobots, the femtobots. So, like, for instance, nanotech can merge with the cells in your DNA, the cells in your body, and create mutations and changes. Whereas femtotech can integrate with the codons within your DNA, so it's a lot smaller size. And there's a Kruger facility on the moon where the Draco is usually in a psion. After they make the clone body, the Draco will try to psionically alter the memories to prevent you from recalling your memories on planet Earth. When they typically abduct humans, they use them. They don't want you to remember your life on planet Earth. So then we got the Ultra Soldier, and that's what I was involved with, at least of all some of the projects anyway. But when I refer myself as a super soldier, this is what I would consider myself mostly is, so it's a Fourth Reich Project Paperclip Nazis. Their test subjects are humans, hybrids, crossbreeds, ET, and I already mentioned the animal crossbreeds. And then the CIA, DARPA, and private corporations were all using these programs. So they're unstable and unreliable in their programming, and they're also known to rebel and not follow commands. Subjects are augmented with wires, implants, steroids, and or nano, pico, or femto injections. And so that's where they can integrate between the clones between on the trip chair sessions. And I have a drawing of a trip chair I could show. Um, but
Ooh,
let's just get through this section. We can go to
okay.
that.
No, you're fine. Take your time.
Okay,
You're
so
fine.
light soldiers are Lelikzadaden, are made by the Fourth Reich in another alternate reality in which the Nazis won World War II. But they get actually no wait, I got this wrong here. They're from our reality and can do everything that Leikzadaden can do. Leikzadaden translates to light soldiers, but I guess in our reality they're just sorry the noise. They don't have as much instability issues because of scientific research on the DNA and the psyche. So they're basically this. Just look at it this way: they're Leikzadaden and light soldiers are the same coin. It's just that Leikzadaden came from the alternate reality in which Nazis won the World War II. Light soldiers did not. So, but they're still made by the same group, Nazis essentially. Okay, Kruger
Well, that
runner.
just sounds like how the Illuminati play both sides. They control both sides. There's no, you know, well, and these galactic beings, I mean, you're talking about Dracos, and I've had my experiences with Dracos for sure. And I'm fully aware of, not fully, let me change that. I am aware of some of my experiences that I've done my best to put together, and you helped me
Hmm.
with some of that years ago, although uh I'm nowhere near. Well, okay, so Peter the Insider you work with for a long time. I don't know if you're still doing work with him. I think you are. Um, you want to mention? No. Okay. Sorry. Didn't mean to. Yeah. Go ahead, please, James. Didn't mean to interrupt.
There's a lot of on that backstory I could talk about, but it's going to create World War III, so I'm going to leave it at that. Kruger runners. So Kruger is a secret space program military contractor with facilities on at Lunar Operations Command on the Moon, as well as on Mars, Ares Prima, and New Berlin. Ares Prima is New Berlin. New Warburg is the other main Martian Nazi colony there. And so, but Kruger would be considered the more positive faction, even though they have the word Nazi branded on them. And within that whole apparatus, there's a group of Nazis that believe in transhumanism, meaning that, so I know you there were some like with Himmler, they were promoting the final solution where they thought, certain genetics were more superior than others. But what they actually found was that people that have who have more genetic diversity actually are more superior than others. So they're actually, so they want this a lot of them anyway within the Kruger apparatus got over their racism aspect and they once they got over that then they realized they can make the superhuman. So but they still of course always try to look for people with the Aryan aspects first. All right, and then they so yeah
Well, okay, so can you explain to the audience who is Kruger? What is Kruger?
Gabriel, well, it's founded by Gabriel Kruger in the parallel reality in which Nazis won World War II. So he was a military, he named his company after himself, a military contractor over there, made tanks and eventually went into making super soldiers and all sorts of weaponry. But they have come over here in this reality too, and are subcontracting for Dark Fleet and also MCC, MDF, and ICC, and these are all names that are groups that are in charge of these programs. But
So is DARPA part of this?
DARPA would be at the bottom of the rung of all the planetary corporations.
I kind of figured, but I
Yeah,
wanted you.
they get all the trinkets and what's left over. They don't get the best stuff.
Yeah.
Kruger would, I would say, have the best, as well as Dark Fleet. And then from there, yeah, the other groups, a lot of them are trying, there's almost like an intergalactic war kind of between all these different groups, meaning not that they're at war with each other, but more like they're spying on each other, trying to steal each other. So even though they might be aligned, have some interests that are mutually aligned, a lot of them don't. Yeah, they got spies and trying to constantly steal. So there's a lot of sabotage and all this.
Well, what's their purpose of doing that? So that they could get the best technology to.
Yeah, that's technology is the monetary system of the intergalactic world out there, and trade and all that. So yeah,
But
they're
how
well.
about DNA, James? Isn't DNA supposed to be like the highest
Well, that's
commodity?
what they're doing. That's what they're trading technology for DNA.
Wow.
Yeah. So essentially, they would they would abduct humans on planet Earth, particular ones that already died, and then they could reanimate them in their trip seat, their regen tanks, and then of course wipe their memories in the trip chairs, and then create. They would have they would convert them into a cyborg. They could cut out certain aspects of the brain, to prevent higher level functioning, and then they could be sold off to an extraterrestrial race that would use them as a slave, and it would come with its own food replicator unit and regen tanks, so they could technically be kept as slaves for hundreds of years. And on some people on planet Earth have been sold off for that, and these particular planetary corporations participated in that and received technology in trade to allow that to happen. Okay,
You
so
got my mind going in so many different directions. I mean, yeah, this is pretty. Go
okay,
ahead. Yeah.
so we've already gone through Leaksodaden, Nordic ETs. Some Nordics were involved with a lot of the Nazis back in the day. Not the only group, but they were the ones that were supporting all that eugenics and promoting all that. Um, okay, and then of course there are a lot of ET races. As long as there's problems out there, it was going to need a soldier. So yeah, they can use remote. They have the abilities for remote influencing, telepathic abilities, and they could have cybernetically controlled instruments, suits, and tech. Weapons could pop out of their back, knives. They could have some kind of skin tight biosuit that has some kind of femtotech interface, some kind of could be yeah, and then some of them could levitate. They have superhuman strength, and okay.
So would you agree that that there's an aspect of all of us, especially those that have been using these projects and programs, and like you said, God knows. I mean, I don't even like, excuse me, using that word, but anyways, um, that there's an aspect of our soul or memory or consciousness on all these different dimensions that are playing out different uh responsibilities for these projects and programs, if you will, like a military or a uh I don't know how to explain what I'm trying to figure out the right words to say, but basically like a crew of super soldiers, so to speak, on different dimensions playing out. Like you said, you have all these different avatars or um what did you say? You said the word, I forgot now. I can't think of the word.
What, clones?
Well, clones of yourself, right? Playing out different, like, are any, okay, this is the question. Are there any of yourself fighting against each other? Like,
Yeah. So they could take my DNA. I say they. Let's just say various planetary corporations, because I've been sold off to many different groups. And one planet, like for instance, Kruger could take some of my DNA and make a clone. And this is apparently this is going on. I this is something I really need to investigate more. But they would make a clone that was being custom made for, say, the U.S. Army, and then they would put a little tiny bit of my consciousness in there to animate it because they need some psionic abilities, but not too much, because if you put too much of my soul in there, I'll start having compassion and not want to do the work. But then they would
Oh
use
my.
me in, say, like child rescue operations. Okay. So then another group could also get my DNA, like say Monarch or Umbrella, and make some clones and then convert it into a cyborg and sell it off as a slave, or bring it, or it could be brought down to one of these underground bases and be used as a scientist. That the same base that one of these Kruger clones would be used to invade and destroy. So I welcome them to remove a lot of these facilities, because just recently I made contact with another one of my clones. This is the Malcolm alter, and I can probably pull up a drawing of Malcolm while I'm talking to you about this. Malcolm was one of my alters from the alternate reality in which the Nazis won World War II. And in that particular reality, he grew up on a farm in Germany, on a poor farm, and I think he was one of the youngest of his brothers there, and he joined Hitler Youth because the Jews were buying up farmland and kicking farmers out, and people were resentful. So the Germans wanted to support a solution to that, and the Nazis made a solution. So unfortunately, yeah, but in that particular timeline, they didn't go out and destroy, kill a lot of and turn a lot of the Jews. They actually embraced them, but they found another option for that than they did here. But Malcolm went into the military and he excelled in his ranks, and they sent him off to Antarctica and then later Mars, where he was converted into a cyborg. And let's see if I can.
But how do you get in touch with your alters? How do you do that?
I have some people I work with that are really good at channeling. So I do sessions with them, and I'm also do an exchange. So I help them out too. But here's a drawing of Malcolm. So Malcolm, okay. So he was
So
taken.
he's a reptoid?
Malcolm? They would put reptilian genetics into them. These are actually the Vlash. These are the crocodile snouted reptilians. They are on Mars, but they're not native to Mars. They were actually a created race. When Mars was actually the original beings on Mars came from Tiamat, who were humanoid looking, blonde hair, blue eyes. And then was going back maybe 500,000 years, a couple million years ago, there were a lot of galactic wars, and there were a lot of settlers people that needed to be resettled, that went to Mars, and the native Martians at that time invited them to come and stay. And some of these groups were these more negative reptilians, and that once they got there, they started crossbreeding and making these giant spiders. And they also made these reptoids. I've got another drawing of the reptoid, if you want to see it.
Sure.
This was actually from Gaia TV, but it was so good. Whoever drew that did an excellent job on that. Let's see if I can pull this up. But as I'm talking to you, I'll keep explaining about the Malcolm track. So he was converted into here it is. So he was converted into a cyborg, and they took out most of his soul, so he only had 2% of his soul left. And the whole goal of that was to take out all his emotion, and then he would go off world, and work for Darkfleet. And so, what Darkfleet's another planetary corporation that, gosh, there's so much to explain about that. They have colonies all throughout the galactic rim, over 400, at least 400 colonies. There's it's estimated 2 billion, maybe 8 billion people out there. And what they actually done is, when the Nazis first settled Mars back in the 1940s, they also used their time travel tech to go back in time and set up colonies off world all throughout the galaxy. And then they've been abducting humans and converting them as cyborgs and using their DNA to make more people. So there's planets all throughout the galaxy right now that have humans on them because of what's going on now. So Darkfleet is highly interested in colonizing other worlds. So what they would do is this is all comes from the playbook of the Draco, because the Draco are high up in the Darkfleet command. They're basically directing it, in my opinion.
Well, can I ask you, because I could probably write 200 questions for you. I didn't write any because I just knew that you would be, sharing. There's so much I could ask you, James. Where do you think we're at as far as like the Dracos and us being liberated from their control? I mean, where do you think we're at? I know that. Okay, you and so many other. Wow, look at that.
Yeah, this is the reptilian class. So what I showed you in the lab was a science class of the Vlash. They're not as strong physically, but this is the soldiers. So you're asking about the Draco, like where are they in this hierarchy?
Well, yeah, because I mean, I know. Well, yeah. Please go ahead.
Well, the Draco control the whole Orion empire. Their homeworld is Orion Prime, and they operate it like a giant fascist state, where the royal Draco, the white ones, are in charge of the whole matrix, and they themselves, at least what happened. Not all of them are like this, but they're very, let's say, territorial, and they also are always seeking to invade other empires and control and expanding their own empire. So they came across a sector in the galaxy which was infected with this femto AI black goo, and it also affected them in such a way that it started to take over their consciousness. Now, typically, black goo is used by certain extraterrestrial. I'm not even sure the origin of it. That's probably something that I should investigate a little bit more. But it's used by certain extraterrestrial races to. They put it on a planet to cover the entire planet to rebuild it. It's like used for terraforming, essentially. And the problem is,
I've never heard that before, but I mean, I've heard different information on, but I've never heard that.
Yeah. So if they take a world that's dead and they want to reanimate it, they put the black goo on there, rebuild everything, and it creates life because it can modify DNA and so on. And then the goal is to take it all off when it's done. But for whatever reason, they got entangled with this stuff, and as a result, it started hijacking their own consciousness. And when you're infected with black goo, puts you into a hive mind consciousness of other individuals affected with black goo, sort of like the Borg. And then it makes you highly intelligent. Your IQ goes up a couple hundred points. You become extremely psychic, intuitive, but it takes away your heart consciousness. So everything just becomes just a huge program. And when the Draco themselves, you could say they're more neutrally aligned, but once they got infected with this stuff, it it just made him go crazy, in my opinion. So and
So
then
would you would saying that not all Dracos are like service to self, would that be a fair statement? Are there
yeah, I would say so. Especially unless they got infected by black goo, and then yeah, it makes them a lot. And I'm not sure who drew this, but it was here's a Draco Royal. Um,
which one is it, Draco Royal? Please, that one.
Right here. Yeah, but they would typically have more of a white skin. The wings ones are even higher rank. They have white skin, scales rather.
Mhm.
So you could see if one of these things showed up, it could scare some people. I don't know,
Of course. I
their
mean,
energy is pretty intense. So you have to be trained to even be around them. But and that's why at least within the Dark Fleet, they like to shoot people up with Draco DNA so that you can interact as a hybrid. You can interact with them a little bit better. But that Draco DNA makes them more, more adds more aggression and so on. Anyway, so that's the Dark Fleet's all about that. And so
okay.
Malcolm,
Okay, can I ask you a question, James? Because I have so many questions, so much stuff's going through my mind now. So just briefly, can you share anything on this Anki Enlil Draco gods running, this planetary system? And do you have any information that you're willing to share on that?
no, I don't study that. I tell you what, you should ask Penny Bradley about that because she has connections with them as in genetic
Okay.
connections.
I'm
So
just curious because, of
she
course,
would be better at
there's some,
answering that.
yeah. Okay, fair enough. Thank you.
And it's not that, I mean, I never really had much interactions with them, so it never really came up on my radar, so I just not really interested in investigating that. But that is a good question, but you should direct it to somebody probably who knows more about it than I could tell
Okay,
you.
fair. I
uh,
appreciate that.
mhm.
I appreciate your honesty. Yep.
So anyway, so ultimately what happened with Malcolm is that uh, there was a battle, and a certain group of he was attacking a certain group of reptilians, and they shot him with a weapon that attacked his AI, the femtotech in his body, and converted him into uh, a zombie per se, meaning that his flesh was starting to rot off. And so he barely survived because he did have some of my DNA and consciousness in it as compared to the other cyborgs. And they put him into the regen tank, and after he did die, and they put him in a regen tank, but he was reanimated successfully. However, my soul didn't go back into the body at that point. So that's when they decided to jumpstart Malcolm 2.0, and they took a little bit more of my DNA and my soul and added to it. And now he is being created on a facility. It's a platform over the moon of Io. And this is a sister umbrella facility, umbrella lab that is out there. And I would not be surprised if the USS ArcCorp was involved too, because ArcCorp is known to have facilities in Saturn. And that's another planetary corporation similar to Umbrella, Mobius, Monarch, the more the negative ones, but they're not so much found on planet Earth. Another person who's connected to USS ArcCorp that you could interview is Jackie Pierce, and she does a lot of interviews with Tony Rodriguez. So that's
Jackie Pierce.
yeah. So
I'll
yeah.
have to. Yeah.
So she's another on one of these. Yeah. So she could tell you more about the USSR Corp. But as far as this platform is concerned, yeah, there's a lot of facilities out there that haven't yet to be cleaned up. A lot of the rescue operations here on planet Earth, a lot, much of it, the Alliance, the positive military, is clearing out these facilities, and it won't be much longer before planet Earth is liberated. But there's that's just the beginning. A lot of people are, they get excited about the relief, just having planet Earth being liberated. It would be an amazing thing for this planet. But
Absolutely.
there,
Yes.
the battle has only begun is all what I'm trying to tell you. There's so much messes out there. We could be at this for 10,000 years, maybe more, maybe a million years.
just
trying to clean
seems,
this mess up.
James, just quickly, and I don't mean, because you're just so amazing, and I love listening to you. I love watching your shows. I mean, I do my best to make sense of, and intuitively, pick up what I can and make, and just make sense of it all. It just seems, my point is, it seems so huge, so big, like overwhelmingly big. Like, how do we dig ourselves out of this mess that we've got ourselves in? And I say to people often, you got to drop down into your heart center and just operate from that space, your heart intelligence, and don't get too caught up in here, because our ego mind, our programming, our subconscious, all those things can definitely pull us away from what I think most of us, and I will say, I've heard Tony Refat, who does work with the Paladin, I forgot his name, but the guy, but he said the super soldiers are capable of love and hate at the same time, and that's why they are so useful in this reality, I guess, being manipulated and used for different um agendas. It just seems, if we go too far out there, when I say we, meaning in general, anybody, oh, well, I'll speak for myself. If I try to go too far out there, it just seems so big that I have to pull myself back and just reground, because it's overwhelming. I mean, you've been doing this a long time, and of course you've done a lot of the integrating, I suppose, and healing, and I definitely feel I have too, but I am nowhere near informed the way you are, James. And just thank you so much for
Yeah,
sharing this
sure, no problem.
information with us, because most people this is so outrageous. They can't comprehend that this is a real happening.
Okay. Well, how about we go to at this point, let's switch over to the generations of ultra soldiers. Does that
Okay.
sound like something we
It,
okay?
absolutely.
All right. Um, so now remember earlier let's go back to ultra soldiers. So again, here's the ultra soldier. So ultra soldier was originally a Project Paperclip um, uh, a subgroup. So Project Paperclip, and Project Paper, for listeners who don't know what Project Paperclip is, these are the Nazis that were brought to the United States after World War II to continue on their experiments. And so they brought this technology with them to the U.S. And the goal is so they appear human, but once they can turn on a switch, they have like alters, and they can become a mindless robot unless they rebel. So let's
Wow.
go
I
back
didn't know that.
to the 1940s. The original Project Paperclip scientists took 20 original subjects and genetically engineered them. So they would they were most likely those of an Aryan type background, blonde hair, blue eyes, and then they would, they found the 20 best of those subjects, and then they took their DNA and made some embryos. And then next batch, maybe I would say maybe there might be 1,000 or 500, 700 per batch. And then they would just take the best of each batch. Okay. Like 20. All right. And then the next batch that you would use cocktails, steroids, wires, implants, augmented human flesh. So, and each gen is roughly about 5 to 10 years. So we're looking, Gen 3 would probably be mid 60s, going in, and then going on to Gen 4. That would be Gen 4, probably be, I would say, early 80s for that one. Gen 3 would not follow orders. When augmented, they had more cybernetic organs, pre-metal bones. Each gen became, and pre is a metal from the rings of Saturn. It's stronger than diamond, but the body treats it like gold. So it does,
Hmm.
your body doesn't reject it. Each gem becomes increasingly more cybernetic and also chameleon class, meaning it won't show up on MRI scans. It will show up as being normal. They're more cybernetic, stronger, and scarier. However, they lose their humanity and start to lose their psychic powers and intuition. So this goes back to what I was telling you earlier. The more they want to, there's a thin line here between psychic powers, intuition, and cybernetics. So the cybernetics can give you that super strength and also allows them to take away the emotion and turn you into a robot. That's what they want. But they also need those psychic abilities and power because the psychic intuition also adds intelligence. So you need to have some intelligence in some of these soldiers so they can have critical thinking, because you don't want to just put a dumb robot out in the field. And so there's like a thin line. They're looking for a mix of both. So the early generations was mostly human, and then they didn't have enough cybernetics. And then as you go later on, they become more and more cybernetic, and that's when they had some problems because they found that even the modern gens, even though they're very cybernetic, they found that they're not as psychic and intuitive. And actually the most powerful generations were around Gen 3 or Gen 4, which is what happened I was in, but they also were known to rebel too. So they got this problem. So they can't figure out how to stop the rebellion and stop all that. But I don't think they can because this is going on a soul level. If you don't want to participate, you're just not gonna. I don't know how much they can try to crush your
Oh
consciousness,
my gosh,
but
James, I'm so happy and proud of you. From when I first came across your information and met you, however long ago, I don't know, 10 years. It's been at least 10, if not more. I think it was like 2000. Okay, no, maybe not that long. 8 years, I think. I think it was 2013 and 14 when I first met you. And just the work that you've done and how much you've developed and grown and spiritually evolved. Because I know that you have a loving, kind, and compassionate heart. I know that. I just feel your energy. I don't think you're some, super soldier monster out here causing, I think you handle your business if needed, but it's just mind blowing how much work you've done and how much information you've put together and how much all this, the people that you're working with. I think you guys should be, I mean, I think, I know there's documentaries out there, but I think more need to be done on this
yeah,
kind of,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I've been working on some. I've been offered to do some documentaries, and I haven't really moved forward on any of that. Part of it is just because of just being busy in my life and even just trying to get more information about doing more research on this. So, but you know what? In the future, there might be more movies, documentaries, and videos that are more professionally produced. Maybe even a science fiction kind of, it was promoted a science fiction version of all this that might even hit mainstream. But well, that's everything's in flux. It all kind of depends on what direction I take this. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. And yeah. Okay, so let's go back to, oh, go ahead. You got another question?
No, no,
Okay.
no. I've got a lot going on in my mind. I definitely want to have you come back again because
Okay.
and I will have some specific questions written. I appreciate you being willing to come on because I know it was a last minute thing. I just think that this is going to be a treat for so many people that have not come across your work that will now be opened up to and maybe reach out to you for some some of the services you provide, maybe regression and so forth. And that's something I will definitely want to talk to you about because I know there's so much more that I have. A lot of the stuff that I've become aware of for myself, I've kept to myself, and there's personal reasons for that. And it's not out of fear, it's just I think smart right now to just keep certain things to myself. But
Hmm. Okay.
yeah.
Well, all right. Well, let's go back to where I was at here. It was Super Soldier Generations. So we're almost done with this, the Ultra Soldiers. By the way, they're on Gen 11. I know it says Gen 8 to 10, but they're 11th Gen
So
now.
when you say gen, you're talking about generation, like these
Correct.
newer gen,
Yes.
they
Every
just keep
5 years.
upgrading
Yeah.
and yeah.
So we've got the newer models. They have a nervous system that's independent of their body, making neurotoxins inert. They have a recycling implant at the base of their spine that eliminates the need of food and water. They also have a self-oxygenating chamber in their neck, which allows them to breathe in outer space without a spacesuit. They also have some kind of energy device inside them that can allow them to destroy worlds if it gets detonated. They can create a bomb in their body and project that into whoever they want telekinetically. So these guys are created in a cloning lab. So their soul consciousness could be in a human body on planet Earth and not have these abilities. They could be in a normal human, but these gens are usually out like in a Kruger lab, or could be in Antarctica, down in Black Shield down there in Antarctica. So yeah, they wouldn't put these guys in you wouldn't be like a sleeper with this kind of body. But although I've been known to come across some people that claim to sweat a waxy substance, or they say they get a cut and it heals within seconds and it looks like a waxy substance. And you start talking to these people and they like have no emotion. So you already know they're already a cyborg of some sort. And they could be part of cyber life, but
That
that's a
just
whole,
saddens me to think about that, to be honest with you.
what, being
It
put into a
does. That
cyborg
people
body.
that are, yeah, that have no, that are emotionless and have no empathy or compassion, that they, it saddens me. There's so much richness when it comes to having our emotional um, abilities to be able to feel, think, critically think, to be able to bounce, to be able to navigate through this reality or the different realities through our emotional state, because we're able to feel into things.
Mhm.
When you're all brain and all psyche and whatever, I don't know that you're really able to, you have, they're programmed for a certain agenda, and that's it. They have no life. But I suppose if they're just all program program and bored, I mean, that's what they're created for, I suppose. I mean, it's just mind blowing. That's, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think AI is always trying to mimic human emotion, but it can't really do that because human emotion would come from our heart consciousness, from our soul aspect. And yeah, as much as AI tries to, they just can't do it because they wouldn't
Well, if
have.
you mind me mentioning this, James, I have been told, and I know this because I can see the wiring in my head, and I'm wide open about it. I have nothing to hide. So I know that I've been augmented
Mhm,
without a doubt. But I also know I have a soul.
mhm.
They know I have a soul.
Well, your consciousness is probably going back and forth between these clone bodies, so that's why you're having trouble accessing your memories because most of your consciousness is probably out there. Like for instance, for
Never thought of
me,
that.
um, I only have, I mean, it's varying, but usually somewhere between 4 to 6% of my soul is in this physical vessel, where the rest of it, like for instance, in Malcolm, like 2% was there, maybe now 4% because they want more of his soul in there. But typically they don't want more than that because once you get above 10%, you start becoming super psychic and psionic and they can't control you. And so, I mean, you could be fragmented in such a way. You could have 20, 50, 100 altars, maybe. Um, yeah, and doing missions like this off world. But all right. Well,
I'm definitely in touch with my heart space, and I'm definitely in touch with my empathy and my compassion. And
mhm,
I
that's good. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I've got some more information on super soldier generations, or we could go into how they make a super soldier. I've got different types of weapons.
How do they make a super soldier? Can we share that? Can
Yeah.
you share that? Should I say?
Uh, so
That
this is
would
the
be
monarch, but
fascinating.
this is the monarch way of doing. Well, I've got the. Also,
Well, okay, so what's the difference between Kruger and Monarch and, because I was told that I was using Kruger, Monarch, this and that. I haven't given it a whole lot of, again, I have not done what you've done and made it your business to really become informed, which I think is absolutely freaking awesome that you've done
well,
that.
well, what I could do is I could bring up all the different planetary corporations and just quickly go through some of them, so you can.
Whatever you think is going to be helpful for the
Okay.
listeners. Yeah.
So Monarch. Okay, here's. Let me.
Oh, Kevin Spacey, huh?
Yeah.
What's
So
his
here.
deal?
Yeah. All right. Okay. So Monarch is. I have this one, the first one on the list, because usually pretty much everything that bad happens on this planet is associated with Monarch, mostly. But yeah, it's led by Paul Serene, and he made his clone is Kevin Spacey. But it's a negative breakaway group from Atlantis dating back from about 6,000 years ago. There's a massive dome under the border of US and Canada near Toronto. That's their main headquarters there. And yeah, you can see all the stuff they're involved with. So they also create super soldiers using the clone bodies and all this mind control. And they use them for missions that align with Monarch's mission statement, which is pretty much just everything is bad. So and I would say the original Nazi SS, the Project Paperclip, was participating with Monarch. I mean, we know about Ewan Cameron and the projects that were taking place in Canada at that time. As the original MK Ultra experiments that the CIA was trying to get their hands on, and the CIA was always trying to compete with the Nazi aspect of Project Paperclip, because even though technically the CIA was has a lot of a Nazi background to it, they're in a lot of them are their interests are mutually aligned, but they're also competitive towards each other. So they don't always share information. So that's why the CIA was working with Monarch to go ahead and try to get access to some of this technology to compete with the Nazis. So next corporation is Mobius, and they operate in a pocket reality just outside of our time. But that reality is fading away because the Gregory of the planet turned positive last year in 2020. So more than 50% of the population wants positivity on this timeline. So these negative corporations have given up on us, and they're starting to fade away. But Mobius.
That's good news. That's fabulous to hear that.
So that's why there's so much chaos, because there's nobody really in control of anything anymore. The agenda, whoever was controlling this timeline, these groups per se, they're losing control. So Mobius works with Monarch. And there's her. She's led by Kara Sandman, and her clone in this reality is Kara Delevingne. And so
So do you think that are we? Would you agree that we are definitely on a positive timeline, humanity?
they've already, these negative groups, given up on us, so that means they're going to let us ascend. What they're, let's go back here. So on April 26, 2020, basically what they're doing is they're creating these 20-year time loops. So right around April 26, 2020, these negative planetary corporations, if they're not able to control the timeline where they're in charge, meaning that there's cataclysms and humanity is going down a negative route, what they do is they time travel back 20 years into the past to roughly around April 26, 2020. I mean, 2000, sorry. And then they reset the timeline and they try something different. So like in this timeline, they tried blowing up the World Trade Center. So like next timeline, they're going to go back, tweak something, do a little bit something. So they're in this time loop. But the rest of us, we're moving on without them, and they're going to keep time looping over and over again until they think they can win. But ultimately, I think they might just have to give up on planet Earth and move on.
Well,
out
that would
there.
be, yeah, yeah, that would be.
Okay, so another group is Umbrella, so found in 1876 in another alternate reality. Not this one, but they do have servers in Thailand. Sorry, Thailand, and so they do have. Yeah, they are working here in this reality, but they have just like different planetary corporations can do trades of extraterrestrials. Umbrella has been trading with extraterrestrials to get access to certain viruses that cause mutations. We're talking about like the Veronica virus, the T virus, Ouroboros, stuff that just basically just causes everything to just mutate like crazy and just create just bizarre life forms. Usually some kind of like plants that become predatory or some just crazy stuff. So Ouroboros is the zombie virus, by the way. So they released that in Miami in their time. Well, I think they tried to release it here, but didn't kick in, which is just as
Wow,
well.
I've never heard of that.
They contaminated. They stopped it here, but I don't know. This was back in 2011. They found a homeless guy eating a body on the side of a road in Miami. So that was
Well,
thankfully
how about, wait a
the
minute,
White
now
Hat
you're making
stopped
me
that.
think. Do you remember when that guy was on that balcony and they had the camera caught he was eating the face of
I'm not
another,
saying.
huh? Do you
Go
remember
ahead.
that?
Go ahead. No, I don't.
No, okay, this was several years ago. I can't remember exactly when, but I do remember it being on the news here. I think it was here in Florida. I'm pretty confident. A guy had they were on whatever that salt bath stuff people were taking to get high.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. They claimed it was bath salts, but yeah, I think it was Ouroboros. It was an outbreak that
yeah,
they
yeah, and the
intentionally
guy
released.
he was had a guy, he had somebody that was on this stuff that was just laying there, and he was literally eating his face off. It was pretty crazy.
Okay, so we know about. Oh, you know what?
Oh my, I forgot about that until you just said that. But
All right, let's bring this back up here. Okay. Umbrella. Let's see here. Yeah, so it's headed by Richard. The it's actually like there's like a board of directors, and so I mean, even though it's technically headed by Richard Bay, who by the way is the actor Tom Cruise, and the guy that by the way he's addicted to that I don't even know if I'm allowed to even say these words because if this is going on YouTube, I don't want you to get in trouble. But
yeah,
it's
well, be careful. I mean, yeah, it is going on YouTube.
it's a word,
So
it's a drug that rhymes with a popular Google browser. So if you
right,
know, yes,
right, yes.
hopefully you know what I'm talking about. Those out there
Mhm.
understand the code word I just gave you. But yeah, so there,
Well, a lot of these actors and actresses are big time involved in a lot of this stuff, and we see them as, these actors and actresses that so many people fall in love with, and behind the scenes they're not what they appear to be, right?
Mhm.
Would that be a fair statement?
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Oh, I, I said Vietnam. I swear it was in Thailand. You know, oh well.
It's
Maybe
okay,
it's close
James. I
enough.
mean,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, anyway, so let's and I also have an alternate umbrella. They were making Hulks in the Marvel comic series. I'm sure you were familiar. The green shape, the green colored superhumans. So they were actually created to kill zombies because they're immune to Ouroboros. So they would say, and the reason why they would create Hulks is because okay, let me try to explain this. Now, in the here and now, there are a lot of sleepers. I already mentioned there was 4 million super soldier sleepers, but there's also people involved in Monarch, MK Ultra, and then of course these other groups. So there's a lot of humans out there that may look like normal humans, but they're not activated. When Ouroboros infects some of these individuals and kills them, their abilities become activated. So now they become a superhuman zombie. And some of these zombies
So, but what
can,
is okay? If they're superhuman zombies, what are they using them for? What is their
they're
purpose?
not
What is
using
their
it for anything. They're a zombie that's basically, I mean, imagine the zombie apocalypse. So, but some of these zombies have superhuman abilities. Like for instance, a basic version could be they could open up doorknobs. Okay. A more advanced version, like if a super soldier got infected with Ouroboros, they could walk through glass windows. So that could be, yeah, quite a problem. They have and levitate and so on. And so that's why they would have to send Hulks in there to go out take care of these these super soldier zombies. But you know, um,
This is such fascinating information. I mean, I go in and out where I
yeah,
watch
I
your stuff and other people, and then I kind of, you know, just
I've got a lot more information on the Hulk projects.
well,
Uh,
yeah. Mm.
that's okay. Oops, sorry, that's my.
So, what do you think about Jeff Bezos
This,
um and what's his name, Elon Musk, and this AI, trying to get everybody
well,
or
I think Bezos is in Gitmo, and the guy looks like he's in a silicon suit, the one that went up in the dildo
yeah, yeah,
rocket
yeah,
ship.
yeah.
But
Yeah, I saw that the other day. I'm curious. Yeah, what are your thoughts on all that?
he had the word "wow" on his hands. I don't know what that was about, but I don't think that was Bezos. And Elon Musk. Uh, I think he's. I mean, he's got operations in Texas, and Monarch has got facilities in Texas, and he's working with NeuroCore, which is trying to create that brain chip interface. So, in my opinion, he is Monarch and trained, but some say he's a good person, and I mean, I've never met him in person, so I can't really say for sure. But I have some doubts
I
on
understand.
his
I mean,
intentions.
I've heard information that he's housing a Draco, and he is not what he appears to be, and he is not any of what the dream spell of what they put before us. So it's kind
But
of
then
hard
they
to.
say Starlink is part of the new quantum financial system, and it's going to it's going to be part of the new military backbone of the internet to get rid of all the censorship. So they're saying that's positive. I mean, I really can't. I just don't know. I think we just have to wait and see.
No,
Um,
I agree.
but anyway, so
Yeah.
I've already explained some of the stuff of the Rob Richter is the name of my Hulk altar. And by the way, Stan Lee was given his information from the CIA, and they brainwashed him, erased his memories so he wouldn't know, remember where he got his ideas from. But a lot of his stories are based on true, yeah, they're based on, even though it sounds like science fiction, it's part of
Hmm.
soft disclosure. But so Rob started off, they would start him off with a human looking clone. They shoot him up with various G virus variants they call it Frankensteining. Then what happens is, by the way, there's the name of the formula, the actual Hulk alter
Wow.
formula. Uh, or at least that particular variant. There's multiple. They're constantly tweaking it. So they would shoot him up, and then he would go through painful mutations when they Hulk out, and then they usually die and then at that point they would put them back into the to the med bed, or I'm sorry, to the regen bed tank, regenerate them, reanimate them back to life, and then do it again. So they could do this process over and over and over again, bringing them back to life. This process is extremely traumatic and painful, but eventually every time they do this, they can perfect the formula just a little bit, and then they got this.
So
um
so 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 James, you don't think? I mean, I remember watching one of your shows. I don't know, a couple years back, where there was a lot of talk about the zombie apocalypse and so forth. So you don't think that is? What are your thoughts on them moving us back in time to take us off the Draco timelines to put us back onto the organic ascension timelines of this
uh
mothership?
Well, there's infinite realities. So the problem is that even if they went back in time and changed the timeline, then the Dracos or whoever, these negative groups would go back and tweak it again. So it's just a constant battle going back and forth. Ultimately, I think the fact that we got to here we are in 2021 and we haven't killed each other yet, and we haven't had zombie apocalypse and nuclear war, civil war, and all that stuff. I think that's a really positive sign. So I think we're on a pretty positive timeline. I mean, I wouldn't say it's perfect, but I think it's going to get a lot better soon. But
I agree with that. I agree with that, and I call it into our reality, and I claim it
are
100%.
are you familiar with Tartaria and all that aspect?
Well, not I've heard some of it, but not I'm not
Yeah.
nowhere near. Yeah,
Well,
no.
well, Tartaria was an area just due east. I think it was the Caspian Sea, if I'm getting this right. It's kind of like near Kyrgyzstan, near the Ukraine. Actually, more Kyrgyzstan, but we're going back in time, roughly around 1800 to 1820. There was a breakaway civilization that was starting to emerge, and these were the settlers of this area came from inner Earth up from the north in Siberia, and they settled down. They brought their technology from Agarthia. I'm sorry, inner Earth. Agarthia would be more the Himalayas, but so this breakaway civilization was about to emerge, and then roughly around 1850 is the timeline where we were supposed to go steampunk. We would have free energy. We would have flying, I guess, flying ships, and that whole era was supposed to emerge. But the Draco went back in time and squashed that by detonating, I think, a nuclear bomb over that region, as well as creating the mud floods. So we were already on a positive ascension timeline multiple times throughout humans' history, Earth's history, but it's been stopped over and over again.
Mhm.
And a lot of that's been wiped from our consciousness because most people don't know that this civilization was about to break away and become, yeah. Anyway, so I've already here's some of the abilities of the Hulk alters, manipulating electronics, electricity, vibrational. Yeah, they can run.
So can we because I know we're in our second hour,
Yeah,
and I'm just curious. I mean, can we talk a little bit more about like what? Because I don't want to cut your presentation off, and I definitely hope that I can have you come back again, James. Because there's just, I mean, there's no way to do. I mean, people, please go to James's YouTube channel, Super Soldier uh
oh,
channel. Is that where you would
super
suggest?
soldier talk. Yeah,
Yes, Super Soldier Talk. And, if you're interested, become, do the research. He's got so much information out there. I mean, just so much, way too much to even attempt to. We're only doing very little right now of what he has, the information that he has become aware of, his own experiences and so forth. I just recommend that you go to his channel and definitely
yeah.
subscribe
Well,
and
thank
do,
you. Do
yeah.
we need to take a quick break?
Do you want to take a break? We could take a 5 if you want. It's up to you,
I
or you
don't
want to
need
keep
it.
going.
Unless
Okay.
okay.
Yeah,
Let's just
no, I'm totally okay. But I want to, if it's okay, because this show is called Conscious Heart Solutions, and I named it that. It came to my mind, so I knew it was exactly what was needed for in order for me to engage in this way, to represent what I'm bringing to people in this platform, and that is solutions for humanity and how to what do we have to look forward to? What do you think? Where do you think we're at? So we're going to jump a little bit, into a different direction, and talk about where your mind is as far as the timelines. What do you see in the future for humanity? What do you recommend people do for detox and cleaning their bodies out, to activate and to open the heart center, to balance, to become neutral, and to these kinds of things. What are your thoughts, James?
Well, that's a lot. That's a huge question. Like, what specifically do you want me to address first?
Okay. Well, first off, let's talk about, you have a device that you created for meditation. I think it would be great to mention a little bit about that. So people that maybe have a difficult time meditating, it's something they can order from you to assist them. Please share, and then we'll move into
Yeah,
some of
sure.
the other questions.
Well, I mean, this is the Skolum device. So the NeoCube, roughly about 6 by 6 by 6 inches, and then on the inside of the cube is the inside of the box are these um, pyramids, and I put quartz crystal in here and different types of wax resins to make an orgone matrix. I try to follow the original Wilhelm Reich orgone recipe as best as close as possible. And then inside your sphere could be different types of crystals. The Skolum has a crystal skull in it, but if you don't like crystal skulls, I also have like you could put a crystal. I have a little crystal sphere in there, or I also have other units that had just layers of metals and powders, crystal powders between it all. And so yeah, so there's about 6 of these inside the box on each inside, and then this goes in the center of that. So um, yeah, and you just put this on your lap, meditate at least 11 minutes a day, and it brings more chi energy into your body to help you relax. And yeah, just tune into the God consciousness frequency that's similar, found all throughout the Fibonacci sequence. Because the goal is the shape power gives it its energy through chi, and anything cone or pyramid shaped produces chi, and it helps energize you and relax you at the same time through the chi energy. So you can find more about that at neologicaltech.com, as well as get yourself a copy of the book. I do have a few of them in stock still. And yeah, I'll pull this up again. Um, so in the book, I go into, I've already explained, yeah, it's mostly the super soldier stuff. Like maybe the first chapter would be like my own life a little bit, and then after that I go into the planetary corporations, which I explain a few of them anyway. And then I have all the different types, some of the experiences I went through, different altars. The Rob Richter is in here, Malcolm stuff is in there, and the Blue Angel, um and a lot more. So yeah, go check that one out.
Wow. I didn't know that you had a book out, so I'll be
Well,
ordering
well,
one.
it doesn't. I mean, it doesn't have ISBN. It's self-published, but
Yeah.
the reason why I don't do that is because I'm still editing it. I'm still I mean, this is I've been working on this since 2012, I think, and every year I come up with a new edition. So that's, but it's getting to the point. I might have to start another book because I'm close to 400 pages now. But
That's pretty amazing.
yeah,
Good for
thanks.
you. That's awesome, James. And thank you for your contribution. That's fabulous. So
Thank
many
you.
people. I mean, yeah, there's again, a lot of people, I get asked questions by people that sometimes see my posts, and they want to know what the heck I'm, what it is that I'm, when I have just general conversation with people, sometimes I'll mention things like super soldier or my lab or my own, some of my own experiences, and it just seems so outrageous to a lot of people. They just can't grasp it. And I used to be a bit aggressive about it because I was, the targeting and so forth. Of course, that's not the case now. I've done a lot, I believe, inner healing and coming to terms and with my own experiences, and just not diving into it in the way you have, really just, really just bringing myself back into my heart, because I was very angry for a long time. um the things that I became aware of just really took a toll on me, and my stress level was outright, just ridiculous. So I would like to ask you, what are some of the things that you do to keep your butt, because I know you're involved in like break you do some dancing. I've seen some of your videos. I think that's awesome. Like, what do you do creatively, besides your life work, what you're doing, because this is also creative expression, but outside of this, what do you do to, you know, to keep yourself balanced in everyday life, and what are some of the things that you enjoy doing, and are there other projects that you're working on besides the super soldier talk and so forth?
Well, yeah. So I guess as far as other projects, I mean, I put together that Changes on the Horizon documentary. That was about Nasara and Saint Germain and the new financial system that's about to emerge. It's kind of curious that I put that together back in 2010, and the the transcripts for that I mean, I shared it publicly, and people have been taking parts of that transcript and putting it all over Telegram. I'm like, I go on Telegram and look at some of these posts. I'm like, oh, I wrote that, and of course, they don't give me credit for any of it, but it's all good. I'm just happy that I seeded
Well,
the
they should
consciousness.
be giving you credit, James. Absolutely, they should. And I'm not, I don't
Oh,
condone or, people should be given credit for their work and their intellectual property, right?
that's
Uh,
all good. I
yeah.
mean, I technically copied it from other. I mean, what I did is
Well, I guess we all share information. I
I
mean, I
I
suppose
took
it
other
would be,
people's information. I rewrote it in a way that is easy to understand, and so I mean, I can't take credit for the research, but I can take credit for the content,
way it
the
was
way I
written.
put it together.
Yeah.
But yeah, but it's all good. I'm happy to see. I say, oh, and then I saw some more posts about some other stuff. I'm like, oh, I put that. Yeah, but it's all good. It's all good. So yeah, you could check Changes on the Horizon out. Make sure you watch the new one from 2020 because I added another minute and a
Is that
half
on
to
your
it.
channel?
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Yeah, my
Okay.
YouTube channel.
Changes on the horizon. I'm gonna look at it because I haven't. I think I saw some of. You know. Well, I hope you don't mind me saying this, but it is my understanding that you hold the energy of Saint Germain. Is that correct? Is that a
Yeah,
fair
well,
statement?
I'm still trying to pinpoint all that because I mean Saint Germain, I can't really say he's necessarily come to me personally and said, "Oh, James," blah, blah, blah. But I'm trying to pinpoint it, and I think maybe what's going on here, although I don't necessarily want to necessarily come out of the closet as being associated with this person, but it evidently appears that I might have been Daniel Paysor in my past life. Are you familiar with the Paysors?
I have heard of the Pacers, and I know
Yeah.
that they have a huge influence. I mean, they are the influence of our monetary system and doing things behind the scenes and so forth that most people
Yeah.
wouldn't have any
Okay,
knowledge
so
of.
for the audience members who don't know, this is what at least that's what I think is going on here, or in my particular case, the Pacers, Daniel Pacor in particular, because I would yeah there were multiple Pacors, the kids and the grandkids, and some of them are, in my opinion, were nasty individuals for what they did. But Daniel Pacor was the son of King Louis XVI and Marie Antoinette. And evidently, he was switched out with a retarded nephew in it was a carriage full of hay. They smuggled him out of the prison roughly when he was around 4 years old. And the nephew died of respiratory issues, the retarded nephew. But Paysor was raised by George Paysor, who was the paymaster for the French monarchy and had control of all the money. And then he was brought to the UK, where he was raised on a farm for 20 years. And then, roughly around the age of 18, he was brought before King George III and was told that, oh, by the way, you have some money. And we're going to give you an estate in America and near in North Carolina in particular, and some money. So he took his money and bought Reed's Gold Mine, and which, by the way, is about 20 minutes from me where I live right now. And so he started investing his money in canals and then later railroads, and helped develop the United States of America with some of that French monarchy money. But most of it was actually stolen. The different Illuminati bloodlines got a hold of access to that funds, and it technically, I mean, you could say it belongs to the peso, or it really belongs to the French monarchy, maybe it belongs to French people. The way I see it, I think it really belongs to Saint Germain and the World Trust, because Saint Germain was working with Marie Antoinette. He did approach her and warn them, both of them, King Louis XVI, and both of them. He told them they need to get out of Dodge because they're about to die. There's going to be a French Revolution. They need to change their identities, take all their money, at least what they can get, and skip town and go to the Americas and set up operations there. And Saint Germain was going to work with the French monarchy under different names and their money to help build up the United States of America into the shining beacon that it should have been. But unfortunately, I guess Marie Antoinette, they didn't want to believe him. And so my connection with Saint Germain is that he would, as a baby, he would put me on his lap and bounce me up and down. So that's how I got to know, at least in that lifetime. But anyway, so I don't know. Like I said, I can't confirm any of this, but
yeah.
As far as whether Daniel Pacer was some kind of evil monster, I think the most we got that is he did a few seances to contact his dead parents, but he didn't do any like satanic rituals. Later on, I mean, he put some of the Illuminati nasty folks in charge of his money, and they stole it. So the Pacers are broke now. Anyway,
there's a lot of I don't listen to as many people as I used to years ago because I've kind of like withdrawn my consent to the nonsense, to be honest. Like there's just so much information, and a lot of it, I mean, I consider myself to be a highly intuitive, empathic person, and I definitely have psychic abilities and so forth. And there's just, I pick and choose who I offer my energy up to by focusing and listening to their information. There's just so much information out there, James, that a lot of it's so outrageous. Like, a lot of people think, I would like to believe that there is going to be a time where this planet will be flooded with currency, where everybody will have the opportunity to participate in cleaning the planet up. And I know that you had a big project that you were working on, as far as I think what was it, like a uh what do they call it, a amusement park thing.
yeah, it is like a wellness park with holograms and so on. And the idea
Yeah,
was to kind of bring back the elementals and the fairies and that kind of realm
well, that would be fabulous.
inside of a giant biodome. So the biodome is actually a bigger project than the amusement park. And the goal was to build my project has 4 of them that I want to build in different parts of the country. One to be out west, one probably be in the eastern seaboard somewhere, and then I'm looking maybe one out in Alaska. Some places where there's just cheap land, and the goal is because a lot of people want to live in a climate that's tropical and warm and beautiful, but most of the United States is not like that. And the places that are already have a bunch of people there. So we need to, so we can find, and also we need to rebuild our cities, because the cities are not based on sacred geometry. They're disharmonious.
Yeah.
And that's creating psychological issues for the occupants of these cities. So the goal is, if we can rebuild some cities from scratch, put a biodome over it to make it beautiful and tropical inside, and build it based on sacred geometry, then we can relocate these people out of this current places where they live right now, and then they can be demolished and rebuilt, because we can't just demolish and build, demolish a bunch of cities right now unless we have places for them to live. So it's a transitional kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, I surely hope that it becomes our reality for all of us. I mean, I live in Jacksonville. I live outside of the city of Jacksonville. I live, you know, uh, probably about a half hour from Jacksonville Beach. And uh, y- the minute I drive down into Jacksonville, into the city of Jacksonville, I mean, you could just feel the heavy, dense energy. Even I'm, I'm sensitive to my surroundings and so forth. And um, there's so much cleanup that needs to be done. But I also know that there's technology, and I believe in my heart of hearts that there's plenty of technology that can clean up our oceans, clean up our cities, clean up the dirty electricity, all the stuff that so many have been talking about for so long. I don't know that we'll, I mean, some people suggest that the whole United States can fit in Texas and live comfortably. I don't know if that's true or not. I mean, have you ever heard that statement before? Evidently, there's a lot more land when the ice wall comes down, as some speak of, into the fourth dimension, that there's so much more land than we're aware of right now. I mean, what are your thoughts on all that?
Well, my thoughts on that is, well, at least with my project anyway, it's just a stepping stone. It's not, once we built these places, we can show. First of all, we can prototype the technology needed to build giant cities from scratch, but also bring us to the next level, which is to create floating platforms in which we can create cities on which can basically levitate around the planet. And at that point, we can get people off the ground and they could travel the stars or they could travel wherever. And I think that is the goal of at least the future role of humanity, is to graduate off planet. But that might be, we may be talking 700 years in the future, but
Yeah.
it's a beginning, and that's the whole goal. Is let's just see the consciousness. Let's get some ideas going, bring some people who are psychic, intuitive, put them together. Let's put together some teams of people that can go back, maybe remote view Atlantis. Let's recreate the world that we want in a way that we like.
Yes, that's right. And I'm 1,000% behind you in that statement for sure. But
We'll get
so
rid of the parasitic bankers, and we got real estate. Usually, real estate developers and real estate attorneys are the ones usually that design cities right now. So let's get rid of all these people. I mean, I guess you can call them parasites. I mean, really, they're not really most of them are not very high consciousness, because they're
yeah.
not laying out cities based on sacred geometry. So they just want it for the money. So let's get rid of this whole thing about money, and let's reboot our economy in a way that is based on harmony. And yeah.
But how do we do that? How do we move out of, I mean, there's
Well,
so many people talking about this, and I've my mind's, I've kind of
well,
been
well,
swinging
I want,
different
well,
directions.
when I mean, if these funds actually are come in, like they say they're supposed to come, I like to buy a university somewhere, and let's retire all the tenured staff, just go ahead and pay them a pension, because they're the ones that suppressed free energy and all this advanced technology. So let's just go ahead and retire all them, bring a new team in there, a new younger generation that's more open-minded, psychics, intuitives, and we'll set up a new mission statement to bring these new technologies out.
Okay, so we hear a lot about my med beds, and some people are saying that these technologies are going to be released in the next, I don't know, couple years. I don't know when, some are saying sooner, maybe in the next 5, I don't know. But and some people already have access to these beds. Where do you think, as far as like some of the technologies, because I know everything's not going to be released all at one time. I mean, I shouldn't say I know that, but I'm thinking all of it's not going to be released at one time. It's going to be slowly given to us. Um, and from my understanding, the med beds are going to be used for the children and the super soldiers before the general population. Would you agree that's a true statement? Or
Well, I think it should be. I don't know if it's true or not. As far as at least what I've been told, there are some med beds underneath Fort Sam. There's some, yeah, I mean, so the Army's got a whole, but they got those from the Draco, and they're using them to make clones. But there are at least, I think there was like 3 or 4 med beds currently right now, and some people are able to get access to them, but by appointment only. I don't know how to get a hold of one of these appointments. I don't. The people that have access to this information are not. They're very secretive about it, and I try not to question too much, because a lot of it's an ongoing operation, because we're talking about the child trafficking operations that's still ongoing. I think when that winds down, then we'll go to the next step where it can be brought out to the public more. Now, if everything they say about the JAB is true, and a bunch of people are about to die, I think if that scenario is in the what we're seeing on our timeline, when that happens, these people are gonna, I believe, are gonna become violent and angry, and they will start demanding their government to release new technologies to fix them so they don't drop dead. And I think that will probably be the motivation for the so-called Great Awakening and the destruction of the pharmaceutical companies and what they've done, as well as a lot of people in our government that participated in allowing this to take place, this depopulation agenda. So yeah, I think that's in
Okay,
the
but
works
some
as
people,
well.
okay, so the JAB, there, some are saying that it's was a what's it called, a, not actually, it was a, what's it called when they make a bunch, they,
You mean what's in it?
yeah, the
Graphene oxide, as well as HIV, mad cow disease, and they say also, I heard Parkinson's is in there as well. Now, some of them may have actually been saline. Now,
placebo
placebos.
effect, that
Yeah, so
some of them don't have it
I
in
don't know what the
it.
percentage is. I mean, it all kind of depends on who made the batch. Like maybe the original batch that was being pushed forward by the Trump administration, that might actually be the placebo batch. But the ones that are coming out for some of the pharmaceutical companies, yeah, those might be the bad batch.
It's so sad, James. I have family members, they all have bought into this. I remember 2013, after saying no to taking a flu shot like 1,000 times, I said yes, and it completely attacked my neurological system, and the doctor said so. And I have been doing my best to clean my body out, to detox, to heal, to, but I have uh um like numbing in my fingers, like tingling all the time, and my body,
Neuropathy.
like I just start going to the gym again, and I feel when I burn, like there's this like there's nerve damage done from it. I don't know, either that or from getting injections for pain in my lower back. But my point is, in saying that is I can't imagine what they're now coming out with. I mean, I can, because I hear and I read and I listen to people like yourself, but this JAB that they're putting into people and the harm that's being done is just, it's so freaking just frustrating. It really is.
So let's see. Let's go back to the graphene oxide. Black goo is graphene oxide, by the way. So the question is are they trying to do, create a Borg hive mind? Is this black goo trying to override people's consciousness so that they become their soul? I mean, some psychics who look at people who took this, they look like their soul has decoupled from their body because some kind of AI is overriding them, and that could very well be what's going on. So the ones apparently, I've been hearing close to 90% of them are going to die, and the other 10% that are surviving are going to be people that have maybe more Rh negative bloodlines, because Rh negative blood is known to be more mutatable, and you can survive an mRNA type mutation, because I mean I'm Rh negative. That's what they wanted us in the secret space program, so they could mutate our DNA and use us in different projects. Now,
I don't have
yeah,
Rh negative. I am O positive, but I do have family members that are Rh negative.
mhm.
Um, and they
Yeah,
have
so they
they
might
have taken the shot, and
have you noticed a change in their personality?
I hope that doesn't get me. I'm sorry.
Have you noticed a change in their personality since they've gotten it?
Um, Sometimes it just seems like when I'm talking to them, like there's just nobody.
What about what about their ability to calculate? Has like one person I talked to said her mother got it and she's not able to do like basic math anymore or even drive a car.
I don't don't know. I haven't, well, that's interesting you say that because, well, I don't want to talk too much because my family, some of them do watch my videos, but I will say this. I have a sibling. I won't mention who that is, that has always been a genius when it comes to, you could throw out numbers to him and he would be able to tell you the math of it as far as like, like what's it called? Uh all of it, like geometry and um what's the algebra, all that.
Calculus.
All of it. Like you just put numbers out to him, give him a couple seconds, and he'll throw a. Now he's like, I'm getting older. I don't know that it's that you're getting older. I think that it's all the crap that, but I don't say that because I don't want to offend my family. They think I'm,
Okay.
I'm,
Okay. You're the
yeah,
black sheep. Yeah.
I am the black sheep,
We got.
youngest at 12, and I have done like
Well, at least
you.
you don't want to be a slave. Most people, they don't even know they're a slave. They just want to go along with the programming.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they think what they're doing, I could go so deep into this. I don't even want to
Well,
go.
you know what? They're going to have their great awakening once, because I was told in September was when these because it's a slow kill. It's slowly the graphene oxide slowly goes into your body, and it is converting the iron in your blood into little new biobots. So it slowly starts to create little micro strokes, and yeah,
It's
that's what
heartbreaking. There's so many people in my
clogs up the
family that
blood
have taken
cells.
the jab. It's when I don't even like talking about it, James, I get triggered a bit because I have for years, from my first, I mean, you were my very first interview. I'm actually my last by choice, right? And I've become aware of a lot of things since that interview, and I was threatened that if I ever went public, that I would be severely attacked. So that's not why I didn't choose to do interviews. It's just I wanted to make sure I knew what I was talking about before I go public. But anyways, my point in saying that is I've been talking to my family for a very long time, and I have recommended certain information for they can do their own research, but they always want me to give them proof. And it's sad because now they've chosen to go along with the program, and it concerns me, but I've kind of had to just sit with myself and be in a place of acceptance and love them right where they're at. They have their free will choice, and if that's what they decide to do, it's too stressful for me to sit and worry about my losing my family. I hate to say that. It's not, it's just, it's like just becoming at peace with all of it. Like, I don't know.
I got you. Okay, well, so let's go into solutions. So
Yeah,
you got it.
solutions, James. Yes, yes.
Um,
Thank you for
no,
redirecting me.
I think some people said you got to do like alfalfa. I don't know. Do a bathtub full of alfalfa, and then you gotta. We'll see. There's some kind of.
Alfalfa. What's alfalfa?
It supposedly takes the nanobots out of you. I don't know if there's any truth to that though.
Oh, okay.
I
Well,
suppose it's not going to cost
I
that much
use
money to get
zeolite,
some.
liquid zeolite, which is absolutely amazing. And I
Yeah,
also do
zeolites.
ionic foot baths, which are fabulous. Have you tried
That
one
that
yet?
not that I have concerns that might take out too many minerals and positive, but I mean if it helps you, I guess just do what you
I
need.
love it. Ionic foot
Mhm.
baths are you? Oh
Yeah.
my, I love it.
So there's also you could for detoxing. I don't know. I think you're gonna be.
Lots of water, obviously, but you want structured water or water that's high in pH balance, and eating properly, eating close to the earth.
Hmm.
Uh, do you? I mean, I gave up
What about
meat.
carbon 60?
I'm sorry.
C60?
Oh yeah. Do you sell that? By the way.
No, yeah,
Okay. I don't
I
know why
was
that
selling it in the
people.
past. Yeah, I stopped doing that. It was just too hard. Actually, I was getting in trouble from the credit card processors. They were claiming I was doing a pseudo pharmaceutical, and so it was just creating a huge headache for and that's just the reality that we live in. the banks sort of control what you're allowed to
Oh
do.
yeah.
Anyway,
I've
but
heard other people talk about that too. I mean, I don't sell anything, so I haven't had that experience, but I understand C60 works. Have you tried it? What do you think?
well, I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's slowing down my aging. I don't know. But I do a lot of other stuff for, meditation. I think helps. Um, but if if you put some kind of biobots into your body that's causing blood clots, um, I mean, I'm not sure exactly what that's going to do to, I guess there's that am I allowed to say
Well, I'll tell you what, James,
ivermectin
guess what? I'm
and
52 years old. Most people don't,
hydrochloroquine.
yeah.
They say
I,
that helps as well.
I think that people like yourself and myself that have been using these, I don't think we age easily. Like I'm 52 years old and I don't have wrinkles and uh I'm very healthy. I mean, I'm not the ideal weight I'd like to be. I did quit smoking in March, so I've gained 25 pounds, but I did start going to the gym a few days ago, and you're always an inspiration for that when I see you dancing. I haven't seen you put a post up for a while for your dancing, but
Yeah, I got a new one. I did a new one this just like a week ago.
oh, okay. Where are you located, if you don't mind me asking? I know because I thought
I'm in
about,
Charlotte.
yeah, I'm in Jacksonville. I'll drive there. We have to go have dinner sometime, James. Hang out.
Well, I was just down in Amelia Island a couple months ago. If I knew you were
Yeah.
down there, but
You're
it's
welcome.
all
I mean,
good.
I have a beautiful, I mean, I live in a small apartment, but I have it very comfortable. And you are welcome anytime. I completely trust
Well,
you.
maybe we could put on a little conference in Jacksonville and bring some people local in the southeast, and
That
if
would
people
be
are
that
interested.
that
Mhm.
would be, I think I've been wanting to do that. So I have a girlfriend that owns a CBD cafe not far from here, and she's looking to expand it. But I was gonna have Michael oh my God, my mind's going blank. Okay. Michael. Michael.
Well, we could discuss Michael Lee Hill.
Yes,
Is
God,
he
my mind was
okay?
like, yeah, he and I have talked a few times, and he said in the fall, so maybe we can get you and Michael and some others to come and definitely, I'm definitely willing to help, put that together if you're serious, James. I would love to do that. I think people in Jacksonville are ready for that kind of, for this type of information. More people are waking up. Like if I go to the CBD cafe, there are a lot more people awake in the past couple months that I've run into than the 3 years that I've been here since I left Maryland. Like all of a sudden, it seems just like this wave of people have become, you know, aware and awake and more open to have these discussions and so forth. So I'm going to hold you to that and see if we can't put something together maybe in the fall. Would you be if I was able to get a few more people on uh would you be willing to work with me to put a conference together?
Yeah, sure. Let's discuss it off camera. That sounds like a good idea.
Okay. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. So, well, it's 3:50 and we're getting ready. So let's wrap this up. Definitely, I would love to have you on again. Can you please share your contact information, your websites, anything, any of the information that people can find you, where people can find you, and we'll wrap this up. And then, yeah, we could talk off camera. I mean, off the thing, and we'll get this upload it for people to watch also this evening. I'm looking forward to.
Okay. Well, you could go to Neological Tech and get a copy of. Let's see. Here's my UCubes. Here's my book. Right there, and it's all free shipping, even free international shipping. Well, not for the book, but for other stuff. Um, I wouldn't make any if I gave you free shipping on the internet. I wouldn't make any money on it. But so yeah, and then go to supersoldiertalk.com, and I do have my interviews upload on here. I need to get some. I know it's been a while since I posted on. I got a bunch of stuff I need to put on there. But Super Soldier Talk. If you go onto the Milab Recovery Network here, you can click. You can find people that can help assist if getting like if you need a seer to help you get some of your memories. Um, I would recommend Veronica. She's really good. Where is she? Oh, there's okay. There she.
Veronica
Yeah,
actually had me on her show once, and I need to invite her to come on.
yeah.
She and I are
Veronica.
friends. Yeah.
Yeah, Alana's good. She's a really good remote viewer. Also, Oksana is excellent, and Kimberly. Some of these others, I never used Eve, and Will's he does energy work. But yeah, so go check this out. And then yeah,
I
so
spoke with
okay.
Eve a long time ago when I first had my awakening, and yeah, I yeah. Anyways,
Well, do
guys,
you have it?
go to James. James is definitely already look at his fabulous website. And
How about I want actually I'd like to show some more artwork because I just had this
sure, you're
done.
more than welcome to do that, James. Of
Okay,
course.
so this was let me just pull this up. So this is a trip chair. Um, this is for Alex Diaz. They were about to give him a shot. So this is in my book. Alex was on my team, the Alpha Squad 45. But yeah, they were getting ready to put him into another body. This one is a facility underneath Los Alamos Lab, and it's controlled by the Five Star Corporation, which is the five stars are different, refers to different countries: Switzerland, United States, Britain, France, UK, I think maybe Russia. I don't know if it's my notes on that one, but they're making clone bodies down there, and the green is for healing, but I think this actually probably should be a pink colored. I probably should have had them change the color to that, but anyway. This was another mission I had. This was when I was in Darkfleet. Yeah, I was by the computer trying to get a bunch of information, and I got caught that I was actually a double agent for Kruger, and I managed to escape.
Okay, can I ask you a question? What does that mean, double agent for Kruger?
So even though I was in Darkfleet at that time, I was working for Kruger too. So the goal is for me to grab information. Kruger was spying on Darkfleet. Technically, I mean, it's like think of it this way: as like the FBI was spying on the CIA, sort of like that kind of thing. So
Well, the reason I
it's the
asked that is
same.
because I was told that I was used as a double agent through and
Yeah,
through.
yeah. Well, I mean, they're always spying on each other, trying to make sure because they're always trying to keep in check. They want to have the most advanced technology, so you got to figure out who's got because they don't always share. So that was an M371 class vessel, military asset vessel. I think it was a military research ship, but
That's pretty
anyway.
amazing. Who's done your animations for you? Who's done these?
I get them done on Fiverr, and apparently it's not one person; it's like a couple of different people that draw.
Pretty amazing.
This was a mission I did
Wow.
when I was on the moon. Actually, I went off world to planet Earth. And this mission, I was getting photos for JFK Jr. for because he wanted to know what his childhood would have been like had JFK survived the assassination. So we went to an alternate reality in which JFK survived, and that reality was destroyed in nuclear winter around 81. So we went to a facility in Greenland, and it was flooded out, and there was this mantis down there. But we did grab a few photos for him.
So that's what mantis look like, huh? I never seen one.
I think this one was this probably should have been drawn a little bit bigger, but anyway.
Yeah.
So we got this was my James Ring altar, and sometimes he would be put into James Ring he's basically an exact copy of me, but he's 20 years older than me, and he's got like a visor over his head. And a glass helmet. But in this particular scenario, he was put into a virtual reality training scenario, and sometimes he would be put back and forth between a reptilian body avatar and his own self. So he would do missions as a reptilian. Oh, that's okay. That's yeah, the Vlash are doing the sexual psychological programming. This is my Reelsburg altar. So that was the one, the 5-star corporation of Los Alamos. They took my my James Reelsburg and aspect of myself. And that's a whole nother, I mean, you got to read the book to go into all that, but he died in Vietnam. I'm sorry. He died in Persia. He was in Vietnam. He did 2 tours of duty in Vietnam, but he died in Persia. And then they reanimated him. The army got rid of him. I mean, he was dead at that point, but the Nazis reanimated him under 5-star at Los Alamos, and then
I'm just so happy for
turned
you,
him into a
James, that you've
cyborg.
been able to get the help you need to retrieve memories and to be able to do the work you're doing. I mean, it's just it's absolutely fascinating
Yeah,
info.
thanks.
You could do a whole series on just your experiences alone, like a whole
Yeah.
freaking
Okay.
yeah.
Well, here's our trip chair. So when you lay in this thing, it's like a foam-like pad. It surrounds you, and then this visor comes down, and then they can insert memories around in this holographic display. The whole room actually gets like this. It almost looks like snow, or just like this white kind of energy. It just fills up these white type particulates when they want to change the memories. So literally, there shouldn't be anyone else in this room when they change the memories around. But they can
Can I
totally
ask you a
wipe them.
question, James? Have you ever had an experience where you couldn't move your body, but you heard ping, 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 in your consciousness, like you
Does,
were inside of a like a ping, like a like a like a game, like a
does it sound like a lightning bolt sometimes?
no, this was a long time ago when I first came in contact with you. I remember laying in my bed. I was told that I was being activated. That was like a an alarm going off to activate me. Um, that's what that was. And but I heard that from one person, but I'm always open to other
Yeah.
people's
I don't
perspectives.
know, but I tell you what, go do some sessions with some of those seers. See if you can pinpoint it is, and you might need to do more than one session
Yeah.
because
I
it's
mean, I've worked with a few people, well, one of which is Simon Parks, and we won't go there. And I know that I feel like he was just trying to get information out of me, but that's a whole nother. I was working with different people. Who I do trust is Sean Bond and Christopher Jacobs, um, and they have helped me. But
all right.
okay, so it's 4 o'clock. We're gonna go ahead and in this segment. I definitely hope that you will come back again, James, because and maybe we can. Well, yeah, we'll talk about it off the thing. But I just want to tell you thank you for everything that you do, all the work and the time and the energy that you have put into bringing this kind of information out for humanity, for people that are new to this super soldier talk, and James Rink's the work that he does, the time, the effort, the energy that he puts in, to the extent of having you know animations drawn so people can have a visual of some of his experiences, I think is absolutely fabulous. Go to his channel for sure. Check out his products that he's selling, and show some love and support, and share this video out with everybody, because more people are waking up, and some of us have been aware of some things for many, many years. And as much as I think I know, I don't know nothing. I really don't. Like I'm nowhere near educated, or at least I haven't tapped into some things I have, but what you're doing is just really amazing. And you've helped me in many ways that you're not even aware of. And I appreciate you, and I want you to know that. So
You're very welcome. Thank you for
yeah.
inviting me.
Yes, James, thank you. And we'll make sure that all your information, so all James' information will be put under the video. Katie will make sure that that's under the video. in the comment section. You guys can contact James through his email or Facebook, or order some of his products that he's selling, and show some love. And we'll have James back on maybe in a couple months, or whenever. you know I would love to have you back and dive deeper into some of these things, and have it structured a little bit better. James was kind enough. I reached out to him yesterday, and or day before yesterday, and he was kind enough to say yes. And I appreciate that, for you taking time to come on. And I hope this reaches the masses. I hope people find this information worth diving into. And if anything, if any of it triggers you, or you start to have some memory, or you question whether you've been using Milab or Super Soldier, reach out to him. Maybe he could do a regression on you and help you retrieve some of your memories. Maybe, dig a little deeper, and help you put some of it into perspective. So again, thank you, James. Thank you, everybody, for coming on and having a listen. And we'll see you next